to ANI 150. This is Lauren Kimball, and we are moving forward with the Sci-Fi Crate. So in the previous tutorials, we went ahead and organized our scene, and we created this high poly mesh, and we are now going to prep these for export. So the high poly mesh should already have center pivot, history deleted, frozen transformations. I'm going to make sure the same is true for the low poly mesh. Center pivot, delete history, freeze transformation. You can find these buttons under the poly modeling tab. Okay. When I've done that, I'm going to grab the crate, go into the channel box, and I'm going to go under the scale value and put 16. Pew! Because we are going to be baking normals using XNormal, and XNormal prefers a sizable mesh. Turn off low poly. Activate high poly, because remember, when baking normal maps, it is critical that both the high and the low poly share space as much as possible. So there's not a great deal of distance there between the two. Okay? So I'm going to take my low poly mesh and I'm going to go export. I'm going to export it outside of Maya. Let me just expand my viewport because max. Alright. I'm going to go File. I'm going to go down to Export Selection and click on, I'm going to click on the little box. Under Export Selection options, and honestly you don't have to click the box. If you just go File, Export Selection, basically those options are inside this window. I'm going to go to OBJ Export. That's the file type I want. Just click on Type of File, OBJ. I'm going to name it, let's see, which one do I have selected? It's my low poly. Low poly. And this is really important. Make sure that you have normals activated. You can turn off materials, point groups, probably want to leave smoothing on. I think that's going to have more to do with the actual smoothing option of adding divisions. So maybe just keep that on for when we export the high poly, but normals, absolutely critical. Export selection. All right, and then you just go and click on the high poly and go ahead and export selection. Oops, push the box again. And I'm going to go high poly Maya. I added Maya to it because we're going to be pulling the high poly into Zbrush later, and I want to know which OBJ object is from Maya and which one's from Zbrush. I'm going to go ahead and export that selection. And we're done. We are ready to move on into Zbrush. So I'm going to save my file. And I would record a little tutorial for XNormal, but unfortunately, XNormal doesn't work on the Macs. So in our next tutorial, if you're at the stage where you maybe want to work on baking your normal maps and your AO maps, you're just going to have to reference the DICE tutorials. But before you do that, we're going to go into Zbrush so that you have some cool additions to the normal map that you can bake out.